Hey, what's up YouTube? In my last video, I posted saying that I was going to be discussing the Braylon Edwards issue. For those of you who don't know, I'll give you kind of a brief rundown of it. It's basically Braylon Edwards of the New York Jets was arrested a while back, not too long ago, probably a few weeks ago, at about 5:15 in the morning, and he was arrested for DUI. Now, most of us know DUI is, driving under the influence. So, I guess what I would really like to talk about is was the reasons, the interviews people had made with particular people, because it's been going on in the NFL a lot these past couple of years. There was even somebody who died. They didn't die individually, but they killed somebody while driving under the influence. And I guess the topic that I would like to raise is people want us to treat these superstars and these other individuals as normal people. When we see them in the street, we want to, be kind to them, talk to them, let them be regular citizens. And that's supposed to be, we're supposed to just ignore what they do for a career, which is totally acceptable. But it's hard for us to, as people, to acknowledge the fact that these guys are real people when, Braylon Edwards is getting in trouble with DUI, and his punishment is 1/4 of football, or half of football, I can't remember. I have the article and stuff, you guys can read it. It's on ESPN. I got a couple other articles. It's all going to be posted in the description below. So just go ahead and give it a look. It's kind of funny because it's something that I feel really strongly about, is the fact that all these people are really getting away with a lot of the stuff when they shouldn't. Like, there's some things that really have to be changed here. But particularly, I was curious as to why, because every NFL team deals with escort services, so that when these players are out doing stuff like that, drinking, partying, being normal people, that they can get safe ride home for free. It costs nothing to the players themselves. It's a free service. They're allowed to take this, and it's supposed to be strictly confidential. I don't know the details on that. ESPN didn't really say, but the NFL commissioner states, it's strictly confidential. We will not know where you're going. And the argument the players made as to why they're driving home rather than taking this free car service was privacy and confidentiality. And they don't feel like they should be having people keep tabs on them 24/7, which I agree totally, because that would be really annoying. But I'm looking at this article right now as we speak, and I'm going to quote it, and I'm citing it below, like I said. But it says, "On the surface it's simple. Been out and drinking, don't drive, call the car service. But clearly these services aren't always being used. Edwards could have called Player Protect, but didn't, nor did the other players and club personnel who have been stopped recently for suspension of driving while intoxicated. Play it safe." And I just scrolled away from the page. It says, so the question is, why wouldn't you take advantage of this? And that is a great question. I think it's something that really needs to be considered. And it says, why not? Why wouldn't players take advantage of that protection, especially in the wake of the tragic March 2009 accident involving Dante Stallworth that resulted in the death of a pedestrian, and a guilty plea from Stallworth on a DUI manslaughter charge? Pause for a second and maybe really kind of contemplate that. Somebody was killed, and these players still aren't taking this serious enough. They say that they know how serious it is, and that's not the problem, but they just don't want their privacy to be compromised, I guess. And this isn't in the article. It says a number of current and former players spoke on that question, mostly off of the record. Their reasons included everything from an unwillingness to leave a $400,000 Bentley in a parking lot of a strip club overnight. That's why you're driving home drunk. That's really, really retarded. If a $400,000 Bentley is worth my life or another human being's life, then wow, I'm glad to know that. I'm glad to understand that that's what it is to an NFL player. I'm glad to know that these people that I like to watch, and many children look up to, think that these people's lives are worth $400,000. I'd like to think mine is worth a little bit more than that. And then it says, an inconvenience of having to get right back to their car the next day. And then they don't want people to know where they're going. And I really suggest that you read this, because there's a quote from the Houston Texans tackle, Ephraim Salaam, and it says, it's like someone's keeping a tab on us. What we do in our private time should not always be the privy of our employers. I agree, like, these people, these individuals deserve to have privacy, but at when does it become too much? When do these particular individuals abuse what their privilege is? Like, that's what I really don't understand, is they have all these resources, there's children that look up to them, there's people that just idolize these guys, there's fans that pay thousands of dollars yearly just to come and watch these guys play, but they can drive under the influence, get suspended for a quarter of football. Now, the reason it is stated that he was suspended was because he was out too late. Every football team has a curfew. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played sports, but when I used to play football back in, high school, we had a curfew of midnight on the weekends and stuff like that, and if we were caught doing anything after that, we would get benched. And the reason for curfews is because our coach always told us nothing good happens after midnight. And I just really think it's something that should be really thought about, and I want you guys to develop your own opinions, and I want to hear about them. So I'm going to post the links of 3 sites. The sites it says, is there a difference between DUI and DWI? Which there is. I want you to read on that. And then there's the New York State DMV brochure thing that says basically you and rules of the road, under the influence, drinking and stuff. There's a lot of questions labeled, and it shows what New York State law is. And then there's an article about Braylon Edwards from ESPN that all these sites are what I'm going to be citing. So give them all a look, post some responses, let me know what you think. I think there should be ramifications for actions. People need to start holding these guys responsible, because whether they like it or not, kids are looking up to them. And if there's these teenagers that are 16 years old out there right now playing wide receiver, and their biggest hero in American football right now is Braylon Edwards, and they see that you can do whatever you want like that and barely get any consequences, these kids are going to keep going out there and doing it. These kids are going to start driving because they think that they can, and people are going to die, and people are going to be seriously hurt. And my dad is 3-time convicted DWI felon. He spent jail time in it because he deserved it, and that's what has to happen. If my dad has spent so much jail time, he can't even find a real job now because of the fact that he has these felonies on his record. But Braylon Edwards can get suspended for 1 quarter of football and just basically move on about his daily life. But also remember that the NFL commissioner cannot issue suspensions until until they're actually convicted of it. I don't know if Braylon Edwards even has had his court case yet. So anyway, check it out. Give me your opinions. I want to know what you think. Comment, post video responses, whatever you need. And hope to hear from you soon.